Good afternoon. My name is Konrad Wypychowski. I'm working in Warta National Park, and some snapshot about our project of alien predators and protection of waterfowl in 5 national parks in Poland. Last few years we spent realizing the project. It's a live project financed by EU. We started in January 2011, and now we are on the end. 5 national parks. The project is called Polish Important Bird Areas. We found the same problem with alien and invasive species, especially with American mink and common raccoon. I'm an ornithologist, so when I met first time, destroyed the colony area full of nests with eggs by 1 or 2 individuals of American mink, we start to think what we can do with the problem. A few years later, the same problem with common raccoon. So we found in our surrounding some American mink fur, so it was economic problem. They removed from Western Europe to east part, central and east part of Europe with American mink farms. So most important, and now something more about our national park. We start to protect our colonies using electric fence and steering collars. It's not easy in our situation, because about 50 kilometers of the national park there's a semi-natural flooded area. So difference of water level on the spring, it could be 4 meters. So sometimes we've got very good conditions with small island, open for birds, for the nest. But sometimes we have to prepare for our birds nesting boxes for ducks and geese, for example. In our situation, they try to use even nests of buzzards or other birds of prey. Most important thing was the reduction of these two species, American mink and raccoon, and then monitoring of raccoon colonization of the park. We used to this GPS collars, so now we've got some data about colonization. And for monitoring of American mink, we used the rust with clay. As I said earlier, Warta National Park is located in the western part of Poland. Southern part is typical wetland and most important for breeding birds. But the location of nearest American mink farms, there are 5 of them located near than 17 kilometers. On this map, you'll find information about the number of female breeding stock American mink. As you see, it's a northwest part of Poland. What we found, we've got some information from genetic markers from American mink, and 40% of trapping animals, there are refugees from American mink farms. In eastern part of Poland, there are not more than 5–7%. So they've got old population of the American mink from Russia or Russia, from before the war. What was most important for 5 national parks in Poland? We start to use the same equipment, the same traps. We start to use the same methods of trapping, and then the same methods of monitoring of birds colonies inside protected areas. As you see, the number of trapping American mink and raccoons increasing rapidly, but it's not correlated with birds. Birds needs more time to react for this situation. And another important factor is that 2010, 2012, it was the year with very high water level to the end of July, so the surface of breeding places inside the park was very small. As I said earlier, for birds, there is the most important removing alien and species from the center of the park. For raccoon, it's a relatively new species for Poland. It's coming from Germany especially. For example, in Brandenburg region, they estimate about 10,000 individuals of raccoon. And hunters killed more than 1,000 raccoons per year. So raccoons widespread in Central and Eastern Europe now. We can observe it. In our case, we found that using the GPS collars, when there is a lot of food, they're staying. The density of animals are increasing. They're staying inside. So we hope that, but is another problem with raccoon. New species, new parasites, dangerous for man. Our success, I think, it's the using our results of project by special hunting associations. Now they realize that hunting for raccoon or American mink, it's not effective. They start to use the same methods as our National Park Administration, and they start to use traps because it's impossible to fight with American mink in raccoon only inside national parks. We have to do it together with the local societies. And the maybe most important, that the results of our project will work in the future. So now we know methods. Now we got some more experience how to do it. But there's another problem with legislation. For example, American mink still is in Poland, isn't invasive species. So we are waiting for better European law. Because now they can locate, local administration may locate their new American mink farms just 5 kilometers out of the most important areas for birds, for example, behind the buffer zone. So we hope that this is the beginning of the process. We know what we can do and how to work for the future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope that the upcoming EU legislation on invasive species that will enter into force January 1st next year will help the work that many protected areas do in Europe. This is quite an innovative legislation, so it's Europe will never have borders closed as it happens in Australia or New Zealand, but the new legislation, I'm sure, will help the work that we are all doing in the region on invasive species. And I think your example again shows how protected areas alone cannot struggle against this threat. They need partnerships, the need not only to develop innovative solutions but also to dialogue with the rest of the society, and that's an important message that came out also from other presentations. But by the way, in the presentation by Nick Holmes, I saw that in one project, one partner was the Humane Society for Cat Control. That's also interesting because, like in many countries, we are struggling with the animal rights organizations that don't often see the value of sometimes removing invasive species.